Like we're talking. Eric, you and I are having a conversation about track loaders. And hello, Chase.
Didn't see you there.
Didn't see you there. We're just sitting here talking about track loaders next to this fire in this beautiful resort in San Antonio, Texas.
It's 95 degrees outside.
So you may be wondering, why are you guys in San Antonio, Texas at a nice resort? Well,
why are we here? Why are we here?
Let me tell you, Eric. We're here at the ECC Conference.
This is the first wheel. This is the very first one. What's ECC stand for?
Do you know what ECC stand for? What's ECC?
He actually jumped. Engineering Construction Conference.
We're going to come back on that. But we're here with this conference. It's a very important conference that we understand and know very well. And they invited us to not speak, but to do a live Dirt Talk episode, which is our very first live Dirt Talk ever. And I think it's going to go quite well.
I have the ability to see into the future.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like when we're done, a lot of people are going to come up and shake our hands and say, that was pretty okay.
Yeah, we're not recording this intro that you're seeing right now after we've already done it. So I bet we meet a general today.
Oh, wow. It's so nice to meet you.
Great to meet
I was
you.
so fired up to get to listen to the dirt nerds out there. I appreciate it. A call from the executive officer to the ForceCom commander, 4-star. They go, hey, General Rodriguez needs to talk to you. I'm a colonel. I'm going, okay, this 4-star isn't calling me just to check on my morale right now. Exactly, Alex.
How's it going?
Yeah. So I said, hey, can you give me 5 minutes to park my car in the Pentagon parking lot? Because I'm working legislatively, so I'm in suit and tie.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
General Rodriguez picks up the phone and goes, hey, dude, you got your rucksack? I'm looking at myself in a suit and tie going, shit, pile of crap in the basement of my house right now. But I'm like, yeah, he goes, we need you on the next plane to Afghanistan. You're going to be the deputy commander of the 82nd. So
Did that happen?
Yeah, we met him.
Yeah, and he was like,
Dude,
I wasn't there
it
for
was
that.
it was a great conversation.
Really?
Yeah. So warm. Yeah. Yeah.
Are you fucking with me right now?
No, dead serious.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
But anyway, enjoy this live Dirt Talk episode with me, Eric Jumper, and Alex Horton at the ECC conference in San Antonio, Texas. Hey, Alex, what's ECC?
The Association for the Capital Projects Engineering and Construction Community. Kind of long.
Oh my God, that's a mouthful.
It's a mouthful.
All right, so now for a pretty historic moment in ECC Future Leader Wednesday session history. We're super excited to have the BuildWit team with us today. BuildWit aims to make the dirt world a better place by working with dirt world companies to help solve their people problem. People are hard to find, and as we know, they're even harder to keep. Through media, web development, branding, and digital marketing, BuildWit helps companies tell their stories about how fulfilling a career in heavy construction can be. BuildWit works to improve the reputation of the blue-collar workforce while also focusing on attracting more talent to the dirt world. I think something that we can all relate to in our industry, too. One of the ways that they do this is through Dirt Talk, the self-proclaimed top podcast in the dirt world, where the team discusses what's happening in their industry. With over 130 episodes, there really isn't a topic that they don't cover. We're lucky today that the BuildWit CEO and Chief Dirt Nerd, Aaron Witt, is joining us, along with podcast producer Alex Horton and Dirt World expert Eric Jumper. So, without further ado, let's have a Dirt Talk.
The Dirt Talk podcast is a podcast to talk about the dirt world. We talk to dirt world experts. We talk about BuildWit, what the heck's going on at our company, talk about leadership. We answer questions. Everything about the dirt world is found in the Dirt Talk podcast.
Check.
We got audio. Did she say historic?
Yeah, this is an historic event.
That is sadly mistaken.
I did notice we didn't get a standing ovation.
Yeah. What the heck?
Yeah, we're a little
Tough
bummed
crowd.
out.
Well, everybody's still trying to figure out what's going on here.
Hopefully that's what we say at the end, too. What is going on here?
Yeah. Well, I hope you guys are ready for this. You have heard all of the inspirational stuff today. Would you say this is inspirational?
It's far from inspiring.
I don't know if you'll find any inspiration, but hopefully a little bit of enjoyment.
Yeah.
So everybody, welcome to and this is our very first Dirt Talk Live. We've never done this before. We're usually in a 10-foot box in
The
our
room
office.
is the size of this stage.
Yeah. So this is unique, but we're gonna act like you guys aren't there, and we're gonna do our typical show.
Could we just get a show of hands of who actually knows what BuildWit is and what we do?
Okay.
Look at that.
That's
A
better than
roaring
expected.
applause. There we go.
Number of hands.
That's
Okay.
fantastic.
Cool.
Great.
For the rest of you, we're not going to explain anything else. There's
Yeah, we'll
no
just
more
jump right
context
in.
for you available today. Figure it out as we go.
Well, I feel like before we get started, definitely thanks to Tiffany for kind of setting the stage for us. Aaron, if you wouldn't mind taking just a minute or two just to do a quick introduction of what we do at BuildWit.
Yeah, so what we do at BuildWit, we've referenced the dirt world a lot. The dirt world is infrastructure, roads, bridges, pipelines, that kind of thing. Natural resources is what we call the dirt world. It's anything in the horizontal plane of the construction space. I travel a lot to go see and experience the dirt world. I started out, my dad's a tax lawyer, so I had no background in blue-collar life. But I started out by cold calling the owner of a construction company working in my neighborhood, saying, "Can I have a job?" He said, "Sure." So I started out as a pipe layer right out of high school, 18 years old, and that was my plan, go start a construction company, because how hard can that be? So I worked for a bunch of different contractors while I was in college, got an engineering degree, worked for Kiewit, Skanska, some others, went into road construction out of school. But that's when my career took a terribly, terribly wrong turn. And I quit my job in construction to tell stories about construction. I saw an opportunity to tell people about what the heck we do as an industry. We're expecting all these kids to run into our industry, but they don't even know it exists. So that's insane. We have to get the word out. So I started running around the country with a camera onto any job site that would have me on, which was very few. Most everybody told me to kick rocks. And told stories. It started to grow. We built a niche marketing business that just tells stories, works with dirt world contractors, heavy civil contractors around the United States. And then over the past year, we've grown into a software business. And so now we do training and development. We have, as of next month, we'll have about 1,000 training courses for people on heavy civil job sites to learn anything like how to inspect the undercarriage of an excavator to how to resolve a conflict on a job site. So that is BuildWit in a nutshell. But on the side, we have our social media influence and the Dirt Talk podcast. And Eric Jumper.
A whole different part.
He's sometimes
of
on the
equation.
podcast.
Once in a while.
And thanks, Aaron. Thanks for laying that out for everybody here. One thing that I think is interesting about your story, and this also goes for your story as well, Eric, you both eventually started posting photos of the stuff you were doing, the stuff you cared about, which was equipment and construction and the people doing that work.
It's basically how I got a job here.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
just posting online.
But just posting online, but you both also eventually picked up a camera and started doing that. But you're both very quick to say, "I'm not a photographer."
No,
you happen to shoot
absolutely not.
the things you like, but that's not your skill set. That's not why you're shooting because you like photography. It's because you like the story you're telling with the camera.
We happen to be good at taking photos of equipment and people in construction because nobody else wants to do that.
Yeah. Well,
You had to
I mean,
love it first.
We
The
like
bar's
what we're
pretty
looking
low.
at. Yeah, but people, hey, can you take my family photos? No, I barely even know how my camera
Yeah,
works.
how many weddings have you shot, Aaron?
0. Chase asked me the other day, he's like, how much paid work did you do before you started taking pictures of bulldozers? I'm like, none.
You're like, I did it for free, and then
Yeah.
someone said, can you do that for me? You said, sure. Now it costs money.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how to make a business, everybody. It's
There
that
you go. Business 101 solved right here. It's a historic event.
easy. Yeah.
So, you kind of mentioned the social media, posting these photos that y'all have taken on job sites and just kind of what you've been doing in your career. Why do that other than just for the same reasons I might post, oh, look at this beautiful dinner that I had? Like, why does that matter to you?
I like tractors, and there's like 5 or 6 other people out there that like tractors. So I took photos of tractors that I saw, so those 5 or 6 people could also see those tractors.
Well, explain to the fine
in a
people.
nutshell.
Explain to the fine people your background.
Okay, so I have the opposite upbringing of Aaron. I came from a not so well off family, 3rd generation earth mover. Been doing this for a long time, and I'm not that old. So my dad would drag me onto job sites when I was a kid. As soon as I could walk, there's pictures of me in heavy equipment as a toddler. Had my first paid job when I was 14. I worked in a landfill. We told everybody I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
I would pencil a mustache on my face every day to make myself look older. So I've got a wide variety of different earth-moving activities, anything from landfill cell expansions, heavy highway, a lot of these fast-paced construction jobs that are coming out. I've got some experience in that. So I've been a very skilled operator for a number of years, and then in that whole time I was posting online different photos, the work I was doing, and then Aaron came along. I first saw one of your posts in like 2017, and I was like, whoa, this guy's posting stuff online. That's really dumb. And then like a year later, I was like, he might be onto something.
Well, maybe I should post too.
And then and then I bought a drone and I started doing stuff.
The jury's still out on that.
Well, so then I ended up here because I bullied you on Instagram for about a year until you gave me a job.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my story. Now, we don't really know what I do here, so we made up a fake title, and I'm now a Dirt World expert.
Yes. Yeah.
So once we figure out what I actually do and how my paycheck is derived and given to me, then we'll know more about
It's all community
Yeah,
service.
we told Eric he'd get paid at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually still waiting.
He's just
on
banking up hours.
It's an IOU and a note card right now.
Next week's actually my 2-year anniversary. So I've been waiting a long time for my money.
Yeah. I started, like I said, sharing pictures about construction because I looked on social media, and it's an amazing tool if you use it as a tool. You can either use it as something to consume time, waste time, or you can use it as a legitimate tool to communicate, build relationships, and push something forward. The love of mine has always been earth-moving, tractors, dirt, anything that pushes dirt back and forth. And I looked on social media, and there's all this amazing storytelling. You know, nature photographers, car photographers, all amazing things.
Every topic you can think of.
Every topic. But then I tried to find cool shots and stuff about what I loved, heavy equipment, and it didn't exist. So I thought, well, why don't I start telling a compelling story, not just cell phone pictures, but actually trying to become a professional at this storytelling, to just educate people about what we do. And maybe along the way, we'll inspire somebody to think about the industry as a career. But if nothing else, we'll give people, like my mom, I use my mom as an example. My mom's never gonna work in construction, but at least give her a sense of appreciation for what this industry does, because she could not live the life she does without this industry, without these people working day and night to make sewer happen, water happen, power happen, and all of us are in the same boat here. So 1, hopefully go inspire the next generation, but 2, just give society an appreciation for this world because it's desperately needed.
And do you think that companies in this industry use social media in the same way?
When we first start, I mean, it's
still pretty rough.
It's just now catching on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just now catching on.
It's mostly just holiday posting.
A lot of holiday posting. Yeah.
Happy Labor Day.
Yeah,
Happy Easter.
or company barbecue.
Yeah, or the company.
Yeah. But social media, it's been ignored in this industry. We've hidden under a rock because for the sake of compliance or whatever.
Liability. I just had this conversation this weekend with a guy that I ran into. He's like, you guys should do stuff with us. And I'm like, you're a demo company. You're probably not going to like it. He's like, oh, what do you mean? I'm like, liability.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So instead we've just hidden ourselves under a little rock, but now no one knows about us, and now we're wondering, well, why can't we find a workforce? Well, it's because no one knows about us. So we're trying to undo that, but in a intelligent way. Well,
Semi-intelligent.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been some nasty emails that have come across my desk, but it's okay.
That's just par for the course. As a podcast producer, I can tell you I get plenty of nasty emails about the podcast, too.
Oh, from listeners?
That's good.
Yeah. Lots of, how dare you?
Yeah.
How good.
To Aaron, specifically.
Yeah. It's from Big Dirt.
Well, talking about y'all's just telling stories on social media of what matters to you and why the dirt world specifically matters, I'd love to hit a couple. I've got a couple examples. I'd love if y'all would just talk about it.
Sure.
That would be great.
All right, let's go.
These examples I've never seen before, right?
You've never seen it?
I've never seen these once.
This is totally new. All right, so that first one, Aaron, this is to you. What is this?
Okay, so as I explained, I run around and look at cool stuff. This is an example of cool stuff. Where I'm at in this photograph is on the airport, the main runway in Zurich International Airport in Switzerland. So earlier, I basically message a guy on the internet and say, hey, you see a lot of cool projects in Switzerland. I want to see what they do in Switzerland. Could you get me in? He's like, yeah, sure. So I fly halfway around the world and go meet this guy I've never met before. And he gets us into these projects. But the project they said would not be possible was the airport demolition at Zurich International Airport. And we say, that's okay. We're going to go see cool stuff anyway. Next day, he comes over to us. You guys want to go to the airport tonight? And we're like, yeah, sign me up. So we go through, it's about 10 p.m. We go through airport security like you're getting on a flight. You get in a van, and we're standing on the side of the runway as the final planes for the evening land. So we are right next to where the planes are coming in, and there's about 150 workers, all head to toe, high vis, and equipment idling, and everybody's just standing around, smoking cigarettes, shooting the poop, whatever they're doing, waiting for these planes to stop. As soon as planes stop, it's probably 11:30 at night, everybody is tearing out to the runway. And the reason why everybody was so frantic is because they're repaving the entirety of the runway, but they can't stop the planes. So they have to do 70-meter sections. I think it was 70 or 80 70-meter sections every night. And so they start when the last plane stops, and they have until 6 in the morning. If they go over 6 in the morning, $20,000 a minute LDs. And they have to do this perfectly, over 70 times to complete the project. So it was amazing because this photograph, this is a Caterpillar 385 and a Caterpillar 395, a machine that didn't exist. They kind of made it up before they actually made a 395. Mm-hmm. This was maybe 10 minutes after the last plane had landed. So within a minute, they had hammers on the runway, hammering out the concrete. They have these custom excavator buckets, these slab buckets, ripping up the buckets. Articulating trucks are pulling up on either side. They're tossing the concrete back and forth. It's freezing. It's raining. The workers are going all over. It's like someone stepped on an ant pile, but it was just beautiful at the same time. And by 6 in the morning, the asphalt was out there. Everything was done. Planes were landing. Just another day at the office.
And they're turning it from concrete to asphalt.
Yeah, concrete to asphalt.
I've heard. One of the annoying parts about traveling with you is I've heard that story like 6 times now.
It's a good story.
One of the new thoughts.
These people haven't.
One of the new thoughts. Oh, I know they have. I'm just saying. One of my new perspectives on this story is that I'm thinking of like an airplane pilot that lands there every day, and every day like.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Why is the runway color changing every day?
It's
getting
creeping a little bit
asphalt's
more.
creeping out a little further. What's going on here?
Yeah, it was just spectacular. I've never seen such brilliant coordination in such a tight work area, and it was one of my favorite moments of the past few years.
The customization that company puts into equipment is unbelievable.
Yeah, and if anybody knows anything about paving, they were not paving with a paver, they were paving with a bulldozer, if that says anything. It was really cool. Mm.
Every time I've heard you tell that story, I think about the first time you told it, and your excitement was just like, guys.
Yeah. Well, the coolest part, I forgot to explain. So in the United States, when you form a joint venture, say, my company's Aaron, Eric's company's Eric. It's the Eric and Aaron joint venture. It's something like that.
Very
There's
exciting.
no imagination. This joint venture was called Midnight Force. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if you guys are forming some JVs out there, think about it because The Europeans
the
have it
bar
now.
is high.
I think we were actually recording a podcast right when he got back, and he was telling this story, and so he gets to the Midnight Force part. He says, and they were called Midnight Force, and me and then the other podcast producer in the room, Harrison, both go, it's very rad. Thanks for talking about that. It's a great shot, and I think you can see, like, there's a lot going on there. I mean, 15 pieces of equipment in that shot?
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah.
We'll go to the next one. Eric, I think this is you. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, I took this photo. So this is a cool photo for me. I've taken literally hundreds of thousands of photos in my 2 years here, and this is one of my favorite ones. It's not really that different than the stuff I shoot. It's a Volvo 950 excavator loading a haul truck. It's pretty on par for what I do. There's a lot of white in the background because I'm really anti-cloud. Don't ask me why.
Those clouds,
I just
man.
hate clouds. I just love a nice, perfect background.
How dare they?
The difference with this photo and why it's so important to me is because when I was talking before about how I'm a third-generation earth mover, most of my career I've actually spent working around my dad. I know a lot of you are probably like, oh, foreman's kid. But working for your father is one of the most difficult jobs to have because you are the guy that has to do all of the worst work on the job. And I worked with my dad probably, I would say 75% of my career. And then I came here, obviously I don't work with him anymore.
How many wrenches did you get thrown at you?
Oh, I've had wrenches thrown at me. I've had paint cans thrown at me. I've had hard hats in the cab. I've had the brunt of it. So in the cab of that excavator is actually my dad running it. So he's a general superintendent for an earth moving and utility company in Atlanta, Georgia. And he does not really get a lot of seat time anymore. He's the guy I learned everything from. And I was able to go out to this job and photograph the operation, it was like full circle for me to be able to like go from working alongside my father to, okay, now I'm like able to watch him work from this new perspective. And that day, the guy that was running the 950, he didn't get a lot of breaks. So everybody else in the job got to take lunch except for him because he's running, the big machine that's moving the dirt. You can't stop the dirt from moving. So my dad was nice enough to go run the machine for him for a half hour so he could take lunch break and the dirt could keep moving. So it was super awesome. I was not expecting to be able to take a photo like this that day. And I was standing there taking this photo and I just kind of stood back. I was like, oh, wow, this is like kind of surreal.
Were you giving him grief on his cycle times?
He was not the fastest that day.
Yeah.
It was his first time running that machine.
On the radio, pick it up, old man.
Yep. He was above 1 minute on his cycle times, which is absolutely ridiculous. Cannot have that on these big jobs. So that was a fun day.
Yeah.
He always bugs me, when you come back. I'm like, when are you gonna pay me?
Yeah.
Right on. Oh, that's a good one. I love that shot too. He's kind of perched up above. It's cool.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite photos.
That's pretty cool.
All right, next one. Oh, this is a good one, Aaron.
This is a good one.
It's a good one.
Yeah,
maybe one of your best.
One of my favorites that and like Eric, I've taken I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of photos at this point. This is in Saudi Arabia and just outside of Riyadh, the capital of the country. They had us out there. This was my second time in Saudi, and we were basically documenting some of the largest infrastructure projects in the world out there. Right now, they're essentially diversifying their economy away just from oil. They've been purely dependent on oil and oil and gas for a very long time. They still will be, but they're trying to diversify their economy, attract foreign investment. So the scale of infrastructure projects is just mind-bending. And to build infrastructure, you start by moving dirt. So this was, we go way outside of town, 2 hours outside of town. We're 5 days into this trip. We're on airplanes every single night. We're just exhausted. We get all the way down this dirt road, probably an hour on this dirt road, and we didn't speak their language, so we didn't even know what we were going to look at. You kind of just show up and, okay, you get what you get. And over the edge, there was this scene, and there was one D11 up on top, and I was I was stoked. I wasn't expecting to see a D11, which is Caterpillar's biggest bulldozer. It's just a monster machine. I saw one up, and then we go over this hill, and there's all of these dozers slot dozing side by side by side. This was just a few of them. There were tons of them. So they were blasting, and they were pushing all this material. We're up on a like mesa, and then the valley floor is down here. They're building down in the valley floor, in the middle of the desert, a Formula One track. I mean, because why not? So you need, the only problem is it's on the bottom, on the valley floor. You need to get to the Formula One track. So they're building a road from here to here by basically just blasting this part and shoving it off the edge to then connect the two dots. So this was up top here. They have all these dozers, but we were in the thick of things. I was down there shooting all these dozers, and then everything just stops. And all the operators start to get out of their machines. And I'm like, what the heck's going on here? And they all are carrying their prayer rugs, and they set up their prayer rugs right in the cut of the machine and start praying in the middle of the day. So this was just such a special moment for me because it was in this just remarkable place. We're in the middle of the desert in Saudi Arabia, halfway around the world. Remarkable machines, bulldozers, who doesn't like bulldozers? And then this different culture that I had never really experienced before, all wrapped up in one, and I was lucky enough to be the guy there with the camera. So this was a really cool experience.
Mm-hmm. And the scale of it's beautiful. It's a really cool shot.
I can put myself in this photograph and experience what I was experiencing, and it was just so special.
That's cool. Kind of burned in your brain a little bit.
Can you experience this on the internet anywhere?
Oh yeah. So that's a great question, Chase. So a lot of what we're talking about today, we make YouTube videos. He's actually the one that makes them, which is why he's throwing that out there. But if you want to experience this kind of stuff in a video format, it's all on our YouTube channel.
Just avoid the ones where it's only him talking. Try to find the ones where it's both of us because it's a little more compelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, just look up Aaron Witt
It's a
or
little
Bill
dry.
Witt.
It's a little dry when it's just him
find it.
talking.
Yeah.
Today we're looking at bulldozers. Sorry.
Love it. Oh,
So
right
can
on.
I buy that picture off of you?
Yeah.
Is it for sale?
Yeah.
I'll give you $20.
Okay.
That's fair. We got two more. Let's see. First of all, actually, before we dive into it, Eric, you started on Instagram, maybe where you started this. Mm-hmm. You started posting photos of old equipment.
Junk, garbage,
Just
trash.
junk, didn't
Mm-hmm.
run. It was not working anymore.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that project and what it's meant to you and why?
Yeah, it was kind of a silly thing that I started. So I started this series called Sunday Service, where I had, for a long part of last summer, I was running into a lot of old equipment. And at the time, it was just kind of, didn't really mean a lot to me. I was just like, oh, wow, there's a lot of really junky tractors in this field. I'll take a picture of it, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And then I just ended up having a big folder in my hard drive full of old junk, titled Old Junk. Mm-hmm. And one day I was like, maybe I'll start posting these. Then I posted a couple, and it did pretty well. And I was like, I'm going to make a series out of this. So every Sunday, I post one of these old junky machines, and there's usually a story behind it. And that story has been kind of the fun for me in why I continue to do this and why I continue to post, because it's, just an old machine, but at the same time, these machines, these equipment, these things that are just rusting away in fields, that's what was used to build our infrastructure that we know today.
Yeah.
It's weird how much people enjoy seeing these old pictures.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
People love old junk. Let's show me old junk.
Yeah.
Here's some old junk.
And
So-
now for some old junk, everybody.
This
Yep,
is
that is old junk.
That is the very first Sunday service. This was Sunday service episode 1. This is one of my favorite photos because it's just so disturbing to look at. This was somebody's baby at one point. When somebody bought this coring excavator back in 1985, they were like, thank God somebody bought me a new excavator. I don't have to run some old piece of junk anymore. And now it's an old piece of junk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's being used as a mulch backstop. This is almost 2 years ago. So this thing may have been cut up for scrap by now. And a lot of the stuff that I've taken photographs now has been probably cut up for scrap. So to me, it's a lot of documenting, I guess, history, and also sort of appreciating these machines of days gone by. I also do a lot of shows, so there's a lot of people like me that are absolutely crazy.
Equipment shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people who have worked in this industry for so long, their only hobby is to work outside of work. So they'll go and buy like old machines like this and put them in, basically they call them shows. And it's essentially a bunch of old dudes with old equipment, and they push dirt back and forth all day. And it's a great time. You can, learn how to run these old things. They're way more complicated to run than any modern piece of equipment. So I've just grown a strong appreciation for this stuff over the years. I guess over the year.
I'm glad someone appreciates this stuff because I don't.
Yeah, you don't care
It's-
at all.
it's junk.
Yeah, it is junk.
Yeah.
It is junk.
As
But
your boss,
it's my
he
junk,
doesn't
though.
care.
Yeah. Well,
Up
my,
here,
my,
up
my,
here, we're all on the same stage.
Yeah.
my paycheck's still cash.
Right on.
I don't
Thanks,
care what he
Eric.
likes.
We got one more. This one's for Aaron.
One more. I forgot which the last one was.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Closer.
So this, funny enough, was one of the first pictures I took. I was paid. This was my first paid shoot ever. Some guy handed me a $2,000 check to come out and photograph his operations in South Carolina, logging operations, Bellwether Forest Products. I remember holding the check like, this is a ridiculous amount of money. And holy smokes, I can actually do this and get paid for it? We're on to something here, Mom and Dad. But this was a guy, John Lee. And this is really the reason why we do what we do. It's the equipment's cool, the operations are cool, the scale of it's all fantastic, but it's these human beings that make the world go around. John Lee, he's been in the woods for 50 years. This is an old guy. He started logging by hand, and now he runs a loader. And a loader, and if you're unfamiliar with logging, so you have a feller buncher go into the woods and cut the trees down. They'll stack them in piles. A skidder will come along with a big claw, grab the trees, drag them through the woods to what's called a deck. And then the loader is at the deck, and the loader sorts all of the wood and cuts it all to size. So in a logging track, you're gonna have a lot of different mills being fed by that same amount of trees. So you're gonna have power poles, you're gonna have pulpwood, and all of the mills have different specifications. So this guy is identifying what different trees go to what mill just in his head and cutting everything to spec. A truck comes in, loads them, just making it look like art. And that's what I love. I love capturing these stories because somebody like John Lee, when he retires, he goes away. He goes away forever. All of the knowledge that he's accumulated over his whole career just walks off for the first time and it never comes back. And so that's what we're trying to do, is at least just get a little bit of John Lee's story captured so that we have that to go help inspire the next generations and go lead and grow the next generations. So this is still, to this day, one of my favorite photographs, one of the very first ones I took, the first one I took from a paid shoot. And we're gonna go see him in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's right.
We are.
We'll be with him in 2
awesome.
weeks.
To the day.
That's
Funny
awesome.
enough, one of my favorite headshots is also of a Bellwether employee, and it's of a 20-year-old kid who just started in logging
That's so cool.
a year and a half ago.
It's so cool.
And
There's
he
something
was
special.
learning how to run the skidder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about logging, but it's these guys in the woods. Is that for us?
Thank you. Wow.
Oh,
so
yeah.
great.
Sorry.
We're not
That's
done.
right.
Yeah,
See,
yeah,
those
yeah.
guys,
Hold
they like us.
But it's these people toiling away in the woods in a place that society never sees, and yet everybody depends on them. Who
It's
here has used
crazy.
toilet paper, for example? Probably everybody. Yeah. It's this guy that makes it happen.
It's crazy how literally the only time you see these guys is when they're pulling out on the road with the log trucks, and then you get mad because they're in your way.
Yeah.
Like that's the only
Yeah.
time you ever see loggers is
Yeah.
when
It's
they're
like,
in
do
your
you
way.
understand what it took to get just from
Yeah.
the forest to here? Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Looking at folks like John Lee, I feel like we talk a good bit about how...
Please hold your applause.
Wow, it's amazing. We talk a good bit about how folks like him have this expertise that they've just have built and acquired over the course of a career. But I think there's a lot of parts of the industry where when folks like him retire, that expertise and kind of that artistry gets lost. That's not getting passed down. We talk a good bit about there's this workforce problem, and certainly everybody in this room sees negative impact of that. But what, like in your experience and just like the conversations y'all are having, what is the workforce problem? First of all, like what does that really look like in our industry? But also, what is causing that?
Well, these dang kids just don't want to work these days.
That's it.
That's all it is.
That's exactly it.
It's
It's lazy
kids.
kids.
It's lazy.
It's millennials. It's colleges. Yeah, that's kind of where the industry's at. We're blaming. We're looking at outside factors and saying that's our problem. And my argument is, okay, yeah, maybe you're right. You probably are right. But at the end of the day, infrastructure and the work you guys do too, it's critical. So we can't just say and just throw our hands up, sorry, society, we couldn't figure it out. So the roads you got right now, that's kind of it. Or drinking water, like we've done our best, but we just can't figure it out. That's not an option. And so until we look ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, this is our responsibility, we need to figure this out, and it starts with us, it's not going to get any different. So I think, the workforce problem, it's not unsimilar to a lot of other industries. We have a lot of work right now, and it's a lot of critical work. It's infrastructure. This is not stuff that we can skimp on. I have a lot of work, but we don't have the people to do it, and we have a aging workforce. John Lee, he's only got a few more years left. He's well past retirement age. He's still out there every day. People like that are a dying breed. Mm-hmm. And so until we sit here and say, hey, let's do something different, it's not going to get any better, but that's not an option at the end of the day.
Not an option.
Oh, a lot of it's the stigma too.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite stories that still like irks me to this day. I was not a star student in high school.
Shocking.
Well, you were working a full-time job when you were 13 years old.
Yeah, well, that's part of the story, believe
At
it
the
or not.
landfill.
Believe it or not. So I barely graduated high school. Dumb as a doornail on books, but I can move dirt really well. Uh-huh. And I somehow ended up in a physics class in my senior year. And my physics teacher hated me because I didn't want anything to do with that class. Mm. And every day he would use me as an example because he knew that, after work I would go, work with my dad or, do something. And he always called me the dumb ditch digger. And I hated that. Hmm. And I always thought, like, this is just how it is. Like, I'm just going to accept my fate. And, like, it's fine. And every day he's like, you don't want to be like Eric. You're just going to end up being a dumb ditch digger. And I probably make, like, twice as much as that guy now.
We made a joke about. Well, we made a joke
Yeah.
about ditch diggers the other day because we were in Calgary, Chase and I, up in Canada, and we go visit an underground utilities company, and so we want to go see their projects. They do water lines on residential, and they say, "Do you guys want to go ride in the helicopter after the job site?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure, helicopter, yeah. Let's go."
Why not?
And so we get to their office. The helicopter is sitting next to the office, and okay, we're gonna go ride in the helicopter to lunch. So we land in this farm outside of Calgary, Canada, in this farm to have lunch. And the dad who was running the helicopter, who owns the company, he was like, oh yeah, when you land, everybody's like, who's that? Yeah. And then, we just tell them we're just a bunch of dumb ditch diggers. And everybody's like, oh yeah.
It's true.
It seems to be working out okay for them though.
Yeah, but that's such a big part of it is like industry, the society looks at this industry and they're just like, those guys, they don't know what they're doing out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and certainly, the school system isn't really set up to feed folks into more blue-collar work.
No, because you can't make money off of that. As a college, you can't make money off of that.
Yeah, the higher education system doesn't win there.
Yeah, I know.
But that's why I'm so, there's this big workforce problem, but at the other side of it is, I have no choice but to be optimistic about it because I'm 27. I got a lot of my career in front of me. And this is the next generation of leaders right here as well. So this is a good audience to talk about.
Leaders.
But with blue-collar work, hands-on work, building things, I'm so optimistic about this problem being solved because it's so aligned with human nature. You get instant gratification. You go work hard, and then you can see, look, I did this. You work alongside people all day long. You're outside. You have constant problems to solve. It's so cool, and I think there are so many people that are miserable in other careers, in more refined careers, or that's because what society told them to do, whatever it is.
Yeah, they're gravitating towards this.
Yeah, but
I see it a little more every day.
Yes.
As dumb as the social media thing is, and as little credit as I give ourselves, because I hate just being called an influencer or anything like that. I hate that.
Tell
but
me about it.
I do see it every day, like somebody will message me once in a while, or like an old friend is like, oh, I've really been looking into what you guys are doing lately. I think I'm going to look into a job in construction because my job sucks.
Well,
like,
but
great.
But
That's
to
awesome.
that point, I just got a message this morning from a guy. Hey, I'm in construction now. I love it because I found the industry through you. I got out of the military. I was wondering what kind of career to get into. Here I am. That's awesome. We're doing a good job at that, but we need to do it at scale.
Yes.
And BuildWit, us, two morons and a podcast producer.
We have more people in our company than 3.
Yeah.
Just to be honest.
We can only do so much. That's where we need everybody to get on board, start telling stories, start highlighting people, start highlighting your career, talk about what the heck you do, because it's going to take all of us to actually solve this problem. Until we all start talking about it, until we all start rowing in the same direction, we're going to have the same problem.
Just don't step on our shoes. This is our market.
Yeah. But if you want to start a business, back off. Yeah.
Pick your own industry. Why do you think maybe some of the older companies in the dirt world, why do you think they struggle to reach a younger audience in the first place?
A lot of guys just don't get it. Another thing is like a lot of older companies, family companies, are just, they don't want anything to do with it. They think that they're still going to hire people based off of either A, newspaper ads, or B, stealing people. You just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, bidding wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not building a workforce, that's maybe building your labor force this month.
Yeah, but it's a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
If I steal from you, I steal from you, you steal from me, we're not creating anything. There's no net positive gain there. And the reality is, this is such a competitive world that we all think we compete against each other. No, we don't. We compete against all the other industries that are kicking our butts right now. That's the reality. And until we start looking at each other as peers, hey, we need to help you out. I need to grow your workforce. You can grow my workforce. We can all grow together. Again, it's not gonna change. I think one of the biggest problems is the past generation. They approach the workforce problem from their perspective.
Yeah.
They approach it from me as some 63-year-old, what I would have wanted to see when I was 20. And that's a 40-year difference. That's a lot of change that's happened in the world, and that's just not how this next generation speaks, talks, and we're all human beings at the end of the day. I don't think this generation's all that much different from the previous generation, but there is that difference there, and until we acknowledge that and start to meet younger people where they are, we're going to continue to fail to communicate with them.
Well, and the other big part of it is working conditions.
Yeah, working conditions too.
Like when I was working in the industry every day, it was almost impossible just to like go to the doctor because you have to work every day. There's just this stigma around gotta work. If you're not doing 80 hours a week, then what are you even doing here?
You must not take this seriously.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that's another part of it is changing, and I see a lot of companies doing it lately. Shortening their work week and working smarter to accomplish more in a smaller period of time so that their guys can have that time off so we're not, broken bodies by 45.
Yeah, but it all goes back to just accepting responsibility for the problem and saying this is our problem to solve instead of just sitting around.
Dang kids that don't want to work.
Yeah, you're right. Never mind.
If
Never
only
mind,
they would
everybody.
look in the classified section of the newspaper, they'd see we're hiring.
Yeah, why aren't they just knocking on our door?
Do you get a newspaper?
No, I did read the newspaper through college, though. But I am a unique individual.
Funny enough,
That part's true.
The last time I read a newspaper was at the landfill that I was working at.
That you picked up off
was
the
it in
ground?
the landfill?
So we were digging through trash from the 50s to do a cell wall.
Oh, that's pretty.
And
so it's an old
you
newspaper.
you can pick up a newspaper from 1952 and read it. Like it was just printed yesterday.
That's pretty cool.
So in my 14-year-old brain, I would pick up a newspaper. This is fun, and then I would smash the glass bottles because everything was glass.
I was gonna say, were there bottles?
Yeah, I would walk up to the wall, and I would pick. I had the option of newspaper, glass bottles, or old needles. And I was like, maybe not the needles, but the glass bottles are fun.
Yeah, that part would be fun.
I had a great summer as a 14 to 15-year-old.
I wonder why they don't allow 14-year-olds to work in landfills.
Jeez, I wonder.
That's strange.
I want to follow up with a question that came through. It says, the energy industry also has a people problem where talent is either leaving the industry or ignoring it altogether for more glamorous opportunities. What can we do in our organizations to inspire that next generation to join the industry?
energy kind of gets punched in the face
Yeah.
every day because of green.
Yeah.
The other day I was in New York, and there's a coal-fired power plant up the road from the campground. I was like, I'm gonna go up there because there's like a D11 that one of my other stupid hobbies is I like to scroll Google Maps and find stuff to go watch.
That's what everybody does.
I'm a strange person.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna go up there and take pictures of this D11 with my drone, which is definitely not illegal at all. FCC loves that. So much to my
FAA.
it's FCC, isn't it, that guards the coal power?
I have no idea.
Anyway,
I'm sorry. I shouldn't be correcting you.
no,
I
you
don't
shouldn't,
know what I'm talking
'cause
about.
idiots.
This is going great. Really, really great.
Yeah.
So
We can edit that out, right?
We'll edit it out. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. We'll edit
It's not
that
in
out.
front of
Sorry.
anybody.
Much to my dismay, the power plant was actually closed because of the green initiative and the carbon offset of the power plant. So they're turning it into a data center.
Well, but this is what I tell. So we work in energy, we work with a lot of coal companies. Coal is still a vital part of our economy, our power grid. It's baseload power, whether we like it or not. That's reality. But the problem is, so what the coal industry's done is, like I said, they've hidden under their rock and said, just don't bother us. We're just going to do our thing. But that surrenders the narrative to somebody else. That allows somebody else to go wild with the narrative and tell people whatever they want to say about the coal industry, true or not. And so they've surrendered that narrative. They haven't told that story. They haven't taken control of the narrative and said, no, this is actually the reality. And until you go to a coal mine, you think of coal as this dirty, terrible thing. You go to a coal mine, you're like, wow, these are some of the nicest people I've ever met.
Yeah,
These are great.
The coal mines we've been to are absolutely mind-blowing.
Gorgeous, unbelievable, amazing people. The reality is so different from what the TV says.
Well, and I myself had that same mindset until we started visiting. So I grew up in Northeast Pennsylvania, which is notorious for poorly managed coal mines up until recent history. Those coal mines were actually a lot of the reason why the standards exist for coal mines today.
Well, which is a good thing.
It is.
I think that's a great thing.
Yes.
But to answer the question, I would start two places. How can we tell our story? How can we explain what the heck we do and why it's so important? That is pretty simple. And it doesn't need to be elaborate, but where's that starting point? How can we tell our story? How can we get the word out about what we do? How can we highlight our people? How can we highlight our work? How can we highlight our customers? What can we talk about? And it shouldn't be a chore. It should be fun. Who doesn't like to talk about what they do? It's awesome. That's what we're doing right now. We're having a great time.
Yeah.
But
Well, two of us are.
What?
but
What did I do?
So how do we tell the story? Two, again, taking that internal approach, how can I care for our workforce that we have today more? How can we care more? How can we recognize people more? How can we listen to them more? How can we be maybe a little bit more flexible from a working condition standpoint? How can we care for people more? Because if we care for people and they're stoked to be here, they're going to be telling their friends. They're going to be talking to their communities and their families and telling their kids. I mean, a lot of people don't want their kids to be in this industry. That sucks. That means we as an industry need to do a better job caring for them because they should want their kids to be in here.
Yeah.
So I would say storytelling, which is really simple. It's completely free. Anybody can do it. I promise it's not as scary as it sounds. And then two, just asking yourself as a leader, how do I care for my people more deeply? Because if your people are happy, you're going to be able to solve your workforce problem from the inside out.
One of my new things that I'm preaching is do the opposite of what the railroads do. Because I've been following a lot of what railroads are doing lately.
It's not the best.
Just do the opposite of whatever those guys do, and you'll be fine.
It's just all heavy industry.
Yeah.
It's all heavy industry. It's not even to single out the railroads. I mean, it's oil and gas, it's construction, it's mining, it's railroads. It's all critical. We can't roll over.
Yeah.
Well said. Thanks for the question.
Well, I don't know if that was well said, but
Well, it was said.
yeah, it was said.
I have a handful more questions if we was going to knock a couple out. Hit a couple.
Yeah.
Thanks, y'all, for submitting questions. We've got some time.
That's
Okay,
time.
cool.
I
I've been managing this, okay? I've been manipulating you to say exactly what I want you to say.
I wasn't doubting your management skills.
Let him produce.
I just wanted some context.
Thanks, Eric. You're
You're
real
welcome.
kind. So, just in case, I prepared a couple questions in case nobody in here submitted any, which you guys are doing great. I'm going to combine two because they're both about the same thing. So, there's a question that we'd gotten recently.
See, he had no faith in you guys. He
That was
had
my
no
mistake.
faith.
He
didn't.
Oh, well, they might not submit questions.
I got to make
so
this
better come
happen, you know what I
prepared.
mean? It's on me. I'm just kidding. But I have a question that somebody sent to us recently that I have not actually asked this crew yet. But I also have a question from Caleb, who said in a similar question on the app. He said, I'd love to get your take on how I, as an engineer, can be a better teammate to those in the field to get everyone on the same team and complete the project. Whenever I'm on site, I try to form relationships and ask the questions, what can I do to make this project a reality, and what can I do to make your job easier? However, it often feels as if I'm fighting the negative stigma that all engineers should just pick up a shovel and learn how work is actually done.
Mm-hmm. And this is an interesting question because, one, I have an engineering background, and that's totally true. The engineer shows up, and you're like, uh-oh.
How's bragging camp
here.
going?
Yeah. What?
How's bragging camp going?
It's going well.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. He's insecure. He doesn't have a fancy Bachelor of Science like I do.
I guess I'm kind of outnumbered in this room because
Yeah.
everybody else
Yeah, this is a highly educated group here. So I come from an engineering background. I understand that, but this is what we experience every time we show up on a job site. Mm-hmm. We show up on a job site. You were an operator, but still, people that don't know that.
Oh, people call me an idiot every day.
Like your shirt's tucked in.
You show up with the camera, and everybody's like, they don't want us there.
No.
They don't want us with cameras on their site. They're there to do work. They don't like to be highlighted. People like John Lee, they don't want their picture taken. They don't. People like John Lee have probably never had their picture taken. But we're trying to get that story out there because it's so important. It needs to get out. And so how I do it is I basically just start, we're all human beings. How you doing? What'd you do this weekend? Oh, are you married? Do you have kids? How old are your kids? What do they do? And just start talking to people as human beings. Start to get to know, what are you guys doing today? Oh, I see you're putting in pipe. Why? What kind of pipe is that? Oh, yeah. And then you might sprinkle in a term or two. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I see that trench box. That's looking good. Oh, okay, so this guy.
He must know at least a little something.
He's been on a job site before. And I start to just build that relationship and completely remove myself from the equation. I'm just there. Who are you as an individual? What do you enjoy? And what is the work that you're doing? People in this industry are very proud. Very proud. There's big egos. Mm-hmm. People like to talk about what they're doing. What are you doing today? That's going to get someone talking very quickly. And once I have a little bit of that relationship, then I can start to figure out how I can help them. Mm-hmm. But if I come in, how can I help you? That's kind of selfish. I'm trying to figure out how I can do my job better.
You're making it about you immediately.
It's still about you, yes. Whether it's, I want to be helpful at the end of the day, but I'm still making it about me first. And I need to make it about them first. Mm-hmm. And that has given me the opportunity to take pictures like this that don't exist. Because I can get in that door and I can just treat them as another human being, and then they allow me to do what I do, which is tell their story.
I usually just get in the way.
Yeah. Well, he establishes rapport by you basically steal machines from people.
Yeah. So my new favorite thing is I'll just go get in a machine.
Yes.
If I see something,
and I'm sure they love that.
We do it safely. We fill out our JHAs. We watch the safety video. It's non-union sites.
Yeah. I haven't done it on a union site yet.
No, you can't do that.
I don't have those. I don't have those stones for that one.
Well,
yet.
but you get in a machine and you show someone you can finish grade like that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so he's one of us.
Credibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something I have and you don't.
And then,
yikes.
And what's wild about our crew? We've got people on job sites almost every day of the week. In multiple states,
we have
all
two
over,
crews
all the time.
In California and Kansas City right now.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me.
Uh-huh. And, they're having to build that rapport and they're having to connect when, at the beginning of that conversation, it's going to seem like that's going to be pretty difficult. Mm-hmm. And, that goes to what you're saying, Aaron, like those people out there, they're not only trained, I guess, to be this way, but like we're also hiring people who find ways and are good at connecting with folks who are not like them, because that's what we're trying to do. It's like we know we have a role that we want to play in the dirt world, make the dirt world a better place. That's the BuildWit mission. And if we're kind of just going out there and being like, please move so I can get this beautiful shot. If you would just move and fix it the way I want it to be, that's not what we're doing. We're just telling the truth of what's already happening.
Yeah.
And allowing these people to tell the truth of what's already happening.
Yeah. Correct. Well, and I think we all, again, going back to caring more, we all need to just act like everybody's a human being. I think it's easy to get fooled into thinking people like John Lee, these people that are out there working, they're the same as the machines. They're just an input. It's just man hours. It's just a line item on a bid. It's not. These are human beings. These are people. They have families. They have feelings. They have emotions. There's egos. It's complex. But that's what's so special about the industry.
Yeah.
The people, man. The people. The equipment's exciting, but it's the people that makes it special. But we need to treat it more as a human equation, I think. And so that's what I would do in this situation. I would approach it from a human perspective first.
Right on. I've got another question from Jacob. Do you have more interest from younger students who are learning about construction or from industry partners who need to outreach for their experienced personnel?
Probably a good mix of both.
Yeah.
Probably a pretty good mix of both.
I think it's both. Yeah. So on the experience side of things, what we've realized is there isn't really a standard of training. Everybody just learns on the job. And so just because you know how to do something doesn't necessarily mean you know how to do it right. And then two, people in the industry, so I'm a great operator, and then I'm promoted to foreman. Foreman, that's a different skill set. Just because I'm good at operating, I can cut grade at the dozer, that doesn't mean I can lead people, communicate, plan work, think ahead, order material. That's completely different. And so we're giving the opportunity for those people to learn those skills. Leadership is a skill. Learn those skills to then actually be successful at what they do, because if you work for a bad leader, you're going to go elsewhere. It sucks. It's not a good time. No one likes to do that. I don't know why you guys are still around.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we'll see.
But
Well,
we're
I have
trying
some news.
I'd like to announce here and
do we need to have a talk after this?
We can do it right now.
So that's the existing, and then we're also approaching it from how do we teach someone who's never been on a job site what a job site is, because to you, it's second nature. You've been around it your whole life. Me, I started out when I was 18. I didn't know how to shovel. I didn't know how to sweep with a broom. I didn't know what a chop saw was. I had to learn all that.
And it's funny because when we started down the road of training, I had no idea how to get this. I still have no idea how to get the stuff out of my brain onto paper and then into a video.
Yeah.
It is one of the most challenging things I've done so far. And I've done a lot of stupid stuff.
Because you've never been formally taught. So
No.
to ask you, how do I teach this?
Yes.
Well, you don't know because you've never been formally taught.
you
And there's
didn't get it
very-
in a real like structured form. It was just figure it out until you picked up enough pieces
Literally.
till you could do it.
It was literally go figure it out.
Yeah.
That's how I learned how to use GPS in a bulldozer. There's GPS in that bulldozer. Go figure it out. I haven't used it before. You got 30 minutes. Go. And there's no reference material for like how to make a training platform. So like I have nothing to look at.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can make it like this. No, I got to figure it out.
So it's a combination of both. It's how can we break this down to bring someone who's never been on a job site up to speed, and don't assume they know what you know, because they probably don't. They haven't been on a job site. And then two, how do we equip people within the industry to lead more effectively, communicate more effectively, care for others,
as well as level up their own technical skills. I mean, that's a big part of that too.
Yeah, because there's no guarantee they were trained the right way.
For sure.
Yeah, having to undo bad habits. Yeah, that's its own thing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, next question from Rory. Do you think technology slash automation will be able to replace the John Lees of the world, which solves the resource gap?
Great question. No.
Not at all.
No. That comes up pretty regularly. It's becoming more of a thing. I see a lot of comments lately like, oh, yep, don't worry about that job. It's going to get replaced with automation one day. I would love to see a robot dig around 20 live utility lines, and most of which aren't marked.
Like where we were in New York the other day.
Yeah,
power
dig
lines.
next to that.
Yeah.
Or the stuff that Local 14 guy does.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff. You can automate a lot of mining. You can automate a lot of big dirt work. There's still plenty of anomalies that exist in those realms. There is a lot of automation currently. So I think we're starting to hit the 100,000 hour mark on a lot of automated haul trucks. There's a ton of them in Australia. I think Utah has a bunch. They're starting to automate loaders. They're doing excavators, things like that. But they're all doing super easy menial tasks. And really the only purpose of automating them is to free up operators to go do more complicated tasks that a robot can't do.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be a point where we're going to see standardized automation. I think you're going to see it big time in over-the-road logistics and trucking. I think that one's definitely coming faster than we think. But as far as hey, go grade that slope and then trim it up when you're done. I don't think so.
Because that's not a math equation.
No, that's visually. I mean, a robot could do it, but I think it would take them 10 times as long.
Yeah, if you're hoping on automation to solve your people problem, you're going to lose. If you're not adopting technology, you're going to lose. So it's not to say technology isn't essential nowadays. It's
Right.
like, yeah, if you don't have GPS, what are you doing? That's a huge problem.
Yeah.
And all the other people that do have GPS, they're just going to outbid you because they're more efficient, more effective. But that said, human beings, it's still, there's so many variables to this world. You have weather, you have different utilities, different, traffic and different people and different machines. There's just so much variability. I've met with the people leading the automation charge in the industry. I've met with them. I know that I was supposed to call one yesterday. It's to replace the menial tasks so that you can free up operators, which are human beings, which are creative, which are good at those complex, creative tasks, to go free them up, make them more valuable. But this will always be a human industry. I am very confident in that. Will technology and automation play a role? Absolutely, but it will never replace. It will just make people, make creative people, talented people like John Lee more capable and better at what they do.
Right on. Well, thanks for the questions. I got one quick one, and then we'll wrap up. I got a question from Elizabeth. She says, what's your favorite piece of earth-moving equipment?
Bulldozer, no question.
Bulldozer?
High track Caterpillar dozer.
Which one?
D6 to D9.
If you had to pick one?
Easiest question all day. Ask me another.
I'd say I'm a big excavator guy.
You're an excavator guy. You also, I think, have something of a reputation on the internet as being a skid steer guy.
Big skid steer guy, too.
Hold on.
Yeah.
No, big skid steer flipper over guy.
I did have a whoopsie in my skid steer. Yeah.
Why isn't that picture up there?
He told me not to put it
These
up
people
here.
are all wearing jackets. This is fancy. We can't be putting pictures like that up here.
Accidents happen to everybody.
They do.
You guys could flip over your skid steer tomorrow if you ever happen to have one.
It could happen. Yeah, if you ever are in one, you could flip it over.
But
That's true.
to get away from this topic,
Sure.
to answer the question, excavators.
Great choice. Before we wrap, I just wanted to say thanks to the ECC crew and the planning committee especially. You guys have been great. Can we talk a little bit about how people can get to know more about BuildWit and follow y'all?
No.
Okay, cool, thanks.
If you're looking to
How do they find you, Eric?
Yeah.
I live at 9337 Easton Road, Kentnersville, Pennsylvania. I'm only really on Instagram, at Eric Jumper, usually
Eric_Jumper?
_Jumper. Thank
There it
you.
is, there it is.
You know more about me than I do.
Since I'm more important, I don't have an underscore.
You don't, no
It's just
underscores.
At Aaron Witt. You can find us on YouTube, Aaron
brag.
Witt, BuildWit, buildwit.com. You can find us LinkedIn. We're all over the internet. Dirt Talk Podcast on any podcast platform. And is that everything you had?
I think so.
Okay, we sincerely apologize for wasting everybody's time today.
Yeah. You will not get that time back. It's gone forever.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good one.
Whoa, I bet it's really hot in there.
Hello, everybody. I was
This
saying
is
hello.
my show. This is my talk show.
Who was the one interviewed after? Who did they have to put makeup on? Okay, all right. We'll cut this.
You're in
no.
front of
Tex Bernstein.
Hi, Billy Big Rigger here, with fucking Tex. What is your name? What's your what did you call yourself?
Tex Bernstein.
Tex Bernstein. Oh my god, it's so dumb.
Okay. So we finished up. We had the live podcast. It went really well.
I thought it far exceeded my personal expectations.
Yeah.
I could not believe people actually enjoyed that.
Then we got some laughs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
some laughs. And you just saw it, so hopefully you enjoyed it as well. Very first Dirt Talk Live. Maybe we do this again. Do you think we're going to be invited back, Alex?
Fingers crossed. It was fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like they were happy. They liked us.
Okay.
We were vibing.
All right, so now we are going to go to the airport, get on a plane, and head back to Nashville, Tennessee. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Bye, suckers.
Stay dirty.
That's the company.
Milk. He needs some milk. Ow, you.
I did not mean to do that.
Oh my god.
I am so sorry.
Ah.
All right, we need to fill out a JHA.
Did you get that on camera?
Yeah, we got that on camera.
That's going straight to HR.
we
my
need a
God.
JHA.
All right, stretch. Everybody stretch in front of the car.
Toolbox talk.
If you would have stretched, that never would have happened.
If I had my hard hat on.
Yeah. Yeah, this is your fault.